Michigan. You can look that up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. My website is Powell for Michigan, Powell number 4 Michigan. That's the committee name too, Powell for, Josh Powell for Michigan. So if you want to donate any money, that'll be good.
All right, thank you, Josh. And these two special lectures are very important.
because we do want to give our candidates an opportunity, like when I had running for Secretary of State, and with the fall conventions being so late, I mean, that gives our people just a few weeks before early ballots. And you're running statewide, that is very hard. No, I would definitely know. So we really want to give our candidates every advantage possible. The next, Ken Meyer, precinct plan. If you could please enable Ken Meyer's microphone.
Ken, you're enabled. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Right, Ken Meyer with the precinct plan. Thank you so much, Christina, for talking about the midday final and covering such details, exciting direction that it's going. I'd like to take this time and just discuss the elephant in the room. And that's right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a kid. It's Matt DePerno at the other meeting. I think what we're seeing right now is a systematic destruction of the grassroots leadership of the state of Michigan. This has been something that's been planned ever since February 18th, when I was working and running the elections. I was told that leadership.
We're going to get going in just a couple minutes, coming back from recess. While we have a few more minutes of recess, Liz Thompson from the affiliated for the 11th district and also affiliated with this venue has a couple announcements.
Good afternoon. Appreciate your attention for 2 minutes. My name is Liz Thompson. I am with the 11th Congressional District. I'm also a member here at Multi Lakes. This has to do with Multi Lakes and our welcoming venue. I love this venue. I've only been a member since the spring. Couple things. After this meeting,
I know he's good.
if you would like to come over and have a drink to chill out, you have to have a member. So William's member, I'm a member, there's a few others here.
Nick Prill.
But feel free to come over to our rec hall, whatever the heck you call it.
I got Larry
We'd be happy
Striska,
to support you in relax.
and I think that's it. So.
And that said, truly appreciate you coming to the venue. It was all William in securing it. We had great help last night setting it up. I was a little bit stressed. But anyhow, we got it done. Glad you're here. That said, if you love the venue as much as I do, we have a really cool raffle that I just want to share real quick. It's tied to the state of Michigan Daily Lottery. And for $10, you can buy a ticket that's good for the entire month. So right now we have December and January available. What the ticket gets you is a 3-digit number. You don't get to pick your number, it's a random ticket. And you have 3 opportunities every single day to win money. If your number is called or is drawn in the evening lottery, you win $100. Unless that drawing happens to be on a Monday. If it's on a Monday, you win $300. You also, if your number is 1 over or 1 under, you win $25. The other cool thing is the club monitors the daily lottery, and once a week we request checks for all the winners and get them sent out, usually the following week. Holidays sometimes interfere. But for the most part, the funds for that support this great organization. We've got tons of youth programs, from hunter safety to teaching kids how to play, do archery. You name it, it's all there. So anyhow, I also happen to be taking over the daily lottery raffle, so I know a lot about it, and I have tickets available. January's tickets are great stocking stuffers. I just bought my daughter a November ticket last month because her birthday was Thanksgiving, and the son of a gun, her number hit. So she got an extra $100 in her birthday card. But anyhow, thank you so much. Welcome here. It's a very welcoming organization.
All together.
Happy to, again, share a drink with you after. And please let us know if you have any questions about the venue.
Yeah, I got it. clamp at home. I wasn't prepared to record today. So the people back home can see what's going on. No, I think I got it.
All right, let's bring this gathering back to order. If voting members of the committee can take their seats, please. Okay, we're going to start back up on our meeting. We're going to hear from our secretary on a credentials report.
Mr. Chair, the roll call was taken and we have 56 voting members in attendance.
And
That includes proxy.
thank you, Madam Secretary. We are going to have three main items. We're going to, yeah, we have a quorum. We are going to hear three items on our agenda real quickly. We have a report by Warren Carpenter, we have a report by Andrew Lau, and then we have potential new business. Once again, I apologize. We're going to have a report by Warren Carpenter on the agenda, a report by Andrew Lau, and then potential new business as comes forward. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion is made by Mandy Kirkswell, supported by Bethany Wheeler. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The agenda is approved. The first item on our agenda is a report by Mr. Warren Carpenter. Warren Carpenter, who has left the room.
I'm here all day.
Where he's being retrieved. Yeah, we have to pause. We have word that we're being live streamed on Facebook, so we're going to figure out who that is. Before we move forward.
Yeah.
Probably Jonathan Chapman. There's Jonathan. There it is. Without objection, he is coming. Okay, we'll hold off and wait just a second for him. Here he comes. So we are at the point of our agenda, a report by Mr. Warren Carpenter.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the meeting. What I'm going to do is just give you. Oh, sorry. What I'm going to do is just give you a real quick history about why a non-state committee member is up here talking to you. As most of you know, I'm the former 9th Congressional District Chair, and I resigned shortly after a conference call I had with Joel, Christina, and Mike Labadie about the finances at Mackinac. At that point in time, I realized that there was major probability of financial impropriety because of where the registration money was versus what the expenditures were. So they were truly as transparent as they possibly could have been with me on that call. And 2 weeks before Mackinac, I found out that if they didn't raise $160,000 by the following Wednesday, that the convention wouldn't go off. What I found out later was, what they did is, they pushed back all these payments through long-term payment agreements, and then they tried to pull that with the hotel. So then I resigned because I knew I had to try to vacate the chair. And I know that it was controversial at the time a couple months ago for maybe even some of the people in this room, but it's okay. I started an organization called the Whistleblower Fund to raise funds and hire an attorney. And the attorney that I hired, and so I just want to preface this. I don't want anyone in this room to take anything that I say on my credibility, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to glean from the individual that wrote this report's credibility, okay? So let me tell you who the person who wrote this report was. And it's not necessarily, this is a draft. The final report is 75 pages long because it includes about 50 exhibits and documentations and signed affidavits and testimony from people with inside the administration as well as state committee members. And about 20 to 25 pages of dialogue of every single situation that we're encountering and that we're all so frustrated with. I knew or had a hunch back then that it was criminal. So I got Troy on the call after my call with Christina and Joel and Mike and brought in Lori Skibo and Braden Jacobazzi and had our attorney tell them what I thought and what he thought, which is the violations of the FEC account. So now let's go to who the attorney is. The attorney is Troy Cummings. Troy Cummings is a partner at Warner Norcross. He's about a $1,000 an hour attorney. He's the former Assistant Attorney General of Michigan. He's never lost a criminal case. He is your RNC attorney today, right now, for Michigan. That's the guy that wrote this report. So like I said, don't take my word for it. This man would not risk his career to write some piece of garbage for me. This was done the right way. I know I told a lot of you guys, just wait for the report, wait for the report. But it's not on my time, it's on the attorney's timelines. And in order to do this right, to have it footnoted and cited, and all the interviews to happen, it takes time. Even so much so that even this morning, he was still calling Jessica about documents, because he said this thing never ends. He said he could work on this for 6 months and probably still wouldn't find the bottom. That's how bad it is. So, and then he sent me a text. I'll just read it to you. So this was about 25 minutes ago, and I texted him, dude, we denied her quorum. He says, amazing. He says, oh my God, I'm finding more violations still this morning. This analysis is powerful. Kill it today. You guys killed it today for holding strong. Thank you. So now I'm going to get into the report real quickly. I need probably 15 minutes of your time. And what I will do with this report, we were supposed to hold this back, but I will email this draft of this copy because it's all still factual. The bigger report is going to be released probably before what the outcome of what we're trying to accomplish happens. I'll walk through that at the end. So let me just bust into it real quick, you guys. So it's a failed leadership of the Caramo administration. Christina Caramo, and it goes into basically how she came into power, and then it goes into problems out of the gate. So it talks about what Joel was talking about briefly with the funds that were left, the line of credit, so on and so forth. And it shows that if she would have paid everything off, as soon as she got into office and had control of the accounts, she would have only been in debt $130,000, right? The prior administration was in debt almost $400,000, like all administrations are in debt after a general election. This is how the story works. If you have $1 million in your bank account and it's December after an election, you did not do your job.
Correct.
So the amount of remaining debt is less than the amount of debt the party had at this time in the period of 2021, for example. In 2021, the party had $405,000 in debt. The party then paid that debt off over the course of a few months through fundraising activity. This is important to understand why, and we'll get to it, why the building can't be used as collateral to pay down the debt. The building can't be used in a sale to pay down the debt because the debt is for state operations of a political nature. It is hard money. So therefore, the MERTS accounts are restricted in order to take in corporate dollars. So there's no possible way a sale from a building that's held by a trust corporation can go to pay down debt from a political purpose. So that in itself is a huge violation. And listen, more than anything, you're going to come to one of two conclusions, all right? These people are completely inept, or this is on purpose. And there's no other way to slice it up. And again, I know you're taking my word because I'm reading something, but all of you will have this. This is an important part to begin with because Mrs. Carano ran on a platform of transparency, partnership, trust. She began her tenure as chair by immediately creating divisiveness between the prior administration and its supporters, making the untrue and non-transparent statements about Ron left us $2 million in debt, and then that lie went on until it couldn't be a lie anymore, and then we all found out, nope, actually they paid $2 million of the line of credit off and left us with cash in the bank, $280K, $400,000 on the note, right? Gets us our $130,000 of net debt. So on the bottom of this, you'll also notice when you guys see this document, it's sourced and it's cited and footnoted. So on the bottom here, you'll be able to click on the links because I'll send you an electronic copy that will take you right to the websites or the coordinated material that's needed if it's not included in the packet. Just so you know, I haven't even read this whole thing yet. I know a lot of it because I've been working on it. The lack of fundraising, it goes into her business plan and the account and what she promised and what was delivered, right? We're just softening the target at this point in time, saying this is what you said, this is what you did. It goes into like how the dollar donations are broken out. This is all these items on this report are from her documentation, right? This is her personal business plan. At this point in time, we should have had $12.5 million according to her. We're actually almost $1 million in debt. $1 million. We are $1 million in debt today. Well, I would say you're correct, but our attorney has a relationship with the lobbyist for the Grand Hotel. This is a cute one, right?
And 1 million. That made my phone jump off the damn table.
So I was talking to Troy, and he made a phone call to the lobbyist, who's a friend of his, for the Grand Hotel. And the lobbyist and him had a conversation, and the lobbyist said to him, "Oh wow, there's still an outstanding balance. Let me call the owner of the hotel." So the owner of the hotel is a very conservative gentleman that lives out of state, right? He owns a national landmark. The Grand Hotel is not a Super Motel 8, right? It probably takes some jack to buy that thing. And he's a staunch conservative, and he doesn't like Christina. So he instructed his general counsel to pursue them for the balance. To the farthest extent it can be done. Yeah, that's a clap. All right. So if we I can't release that yet because it hasn't been.
That's okay. Joel says it's 25,000, but I think it's around 171 people.
It's between $150,000 and $250,000. Yeah, it's between $150,000 and $200,000.
Just out of curiosity, as you're working with this attorney, that $1 million balance or whatever is being gone after by Mackinac, who's going to end up being responsible for that? And besides saying the MRP, who represents the MRP that would be potentially responsible?
Well, it's anybody that has signing and fiduciary responsibility, including up to the budget committee. Hey. Sorry, man. Not my monkey, not my circus.
Pay for it.
Yep.
Point this document out to them.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to have you speak to it, Jess, because you did such a great job on this.
Okay.
All right, so I created this document that you all have right here. Okay, this is from actual budget committee documents. You can see that there is a portion of the Grand Hotel contract, $598,000 was the original contract. There's an addendum below where they renegotiated it down to $476,000. I have an email from Joel from 2 weeks ago denying that that ever happened, but I have the contract with Christina's signature on it, so it did happen. There's another document you guys have that has the profit and loss on it. Yep, this one. So if you look at the profit and loss and you go to the section for Mackinac, it's going to show you what they have paid so far. $329,000. But we have this contract here for $476,000. They already let them out of the $600,000 contract. Do the math, use your best judgment. Do we all honestly think that we got away with paying $329,000 on an original $600,000 contract, and an entity such as the Grand Hotel is okay with this and that was allowed? No. Okay, so the proof is there, the proof is in the pudding. I don't care what Dan Bonamy tells you, or Joel Studebaker, or Dan Hartman. I've caught them in lie after lie after lie since I woke up to all of this in June, and I will prove it with documents. Unlike them, they will prove it with their words, and then they never back it up.
Great job, Jess. All right, so go ahead, John.
Yeah. I'd like to ask a couple questions about that report. Number one, on the balance sheet, it shows that the building on Seymour Street is an asset of the Michigan GOP, and I believe that's not correct. I talked to one of the trustees of that trust agreement, and it's owned by the trust, and unless the trustee has agreed by 2/3 to sell it and then deem it to the Michigan GOP, it's not part of it. So that's point number one. Point number two is there is no, on the income statement, the P&L statement, there are no speaker fees in there. And on the balance sheet, there is no liability for an alleged loan that was made. So, yeah.
I've only got about 5 more minutes, and then they're gonna. You guys got other stuff that you guys got to take care of. I just really want to jam through this. So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hit the high notes, right? So you just brought up the line of credit and the building and this whole hullabaloo about the sale, right, John? Let's talk about that real quick. So, our attorney also has a connection at Comerica Bank. The reason he has a connection at Comerica Bank is because he's former general counsel of MIGOP, with whom that line of credit was taken out with. So the issue is this. Comerica came to the administration 90 days after she took office. They hadn't made the interest payments, and they caught up on the interest payments. The bank said that you need to come up with a plan to pay off this debt, right? They sent her a notice, they called, they've reached out, and the bank has said, not Christina, the bank has said, the actual loan officer has said that she never reached out. And I want you to think what that means. It's like the parking tickets in Lansing, okay? This is how you could best equate it. She got a bunch of parking tickets up in Lansing because she sold the or she didn't want to be in the building. And so she rents this little office. She gets a bunch of parking tickets. She's now 1 parking ticket away from getting her license suspended in Lansing. I called the parking division and confirmed that. Okay? So it's a $10 ticket, you don't pay it. Now it's a $25 ticket, you don't pay it. Now it's a $50 ticket, and the magistrate says you have to come in. She's at the magistrate saying she has to come in. This is your chairwoman, right? So she doesn't pay bills, she doesn't answer phone calls. I got her credit report, I got all this stuff. What they're going to do is they're foreclosing on the loan. And so what that means is this. They're going to get a sheriff's judgment against the party. And in that sheriff's judgment, they're going to seize your laptops. They're going to seize anything you have of any value at all. And that is not the building. And they're going to garnish the accounts. The bank is coming for the, well, I understand, okay, but that means every single dollar that goes into any of the bank accounts now will go directly to the bank and not to any political operations, truly bankrupting the party. So that is the real truth of the building debacle and the financial situation in regards to the line of credit. If she would have just paid the interest runs about $4,600 a month. When she had the accounts given to her, there was $280,000. That means she had to pay interest for 24 months. 24 times 5 is $120,000. That's what she would have had to pay. She could have prepaid that out in interest and still had money to burn on Joe Moss's laptops. But instead, every single person who's going to look to your party, to the people in the seats, because you are the party, every dollar that they donate once this transaction happens, and banks are ruthless. You think they're not going to move? Like, they don't care. It's to Jessica's point. How do hotels make their money? By you signing a contract and promising to pay to sleep in a room. Do you get a refund if you don't, like their contracts are literally about events. The Grand is a tourist destination. Do you think that they're just willy-nilly giving people 30, 40, 50% haircuts on every bill that comes out of there? It's not negotiable. This is crazy. All right? Let's go into Mackinac real quick because this will be the last one I'll touch on, but you guys will get this report. It is damning, okay? If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on it. We'll be doing big press conferences about it later. But the last one is the FEC violations in regards to the Jim Kopis loan, okay? We have it confirmed that the violation of Jim Kopis, or the violation of the payment for Jim Kopis was made as an in-kind donation. The FEC does not make distinctions above the limit. Does everyone know what that means and understand that? It means that there can be no distinction in between filings, that as soon as something comes in, it is categorized as what it is. If there's no loan documentation, which there has been no loan documentation for it, then it's an in-kind donation. But it's even worse than that. Who here remembers Stormy Daniels? Raise your hand. Who here remembers Michael Cohen? All right. What did Michael Cohen do to go to prison? He didn't go to prison for lying, people. It was money. Bill Letherman, it was money. You know what it was? It was exactly $100,000 because the penalties increase exponentially in FEC violations at $100,000.
Warren,
yep.
The top of it came back to quorum, and they are claiming that we all count since we're live streaming.
No, yeah, nice try. So. Yeah. Them's the rules, kids.
One device per person.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, to jump back on this, at the time the donation was made, right, when Michael Cohen paid that $100,000 to Stormy Daniels, he did it as a third party, but he said he was doing it on behalf of the campaign. But it doesn't matter because the campaign said no. You're making an in-kind contribution. That was like how they got him. Over $100,000 was exactly a $100,000 payment. So let's just back up real quick and go to the Lynette Wilson Trust, which is Jim Kopis' wife, who sent a $110,000 check to Jim Caviezel. It's the exact same steps because they can write down, if her trust allows it, $10,000 is the max for a federal limit, right? We know that as donors, we can give $10,000 to a federal PAC for, XYZ. If there's 50 federal PACs, you can give your money to whoever you want, but there's a limit. If you go above that limit, it must be returned. Any of you ever that have been a treasurer, ever get a donation that you don't have, and you have to send it back, or you have to do what with it?
Donate it.
You gotta send it back, or you gotta donate it with, right? So, here's the question. On the budget call, I know that they started talking about we're going to start paying back
the loan.
We're going to start paying back the loan, but was it a loan? Nobody could produce any origination document, so it's not a loan. It was a third-party payer. That's like me picking up the tab for this place, right? I picked up the tab. I didn't give anybody that. I picked up the tab, so it's an in-kind donation.
Point of clarification. It may be technically a loan, but a loan's count is contributions by campaign finance.
Correct. And that's why it doesn't matter. There's no way getting out of this. So now you have Jim Kopis' wife's trust as legal liability of a major felony. It's a 15-year felony, by the way. Yeah, and this is all documented, cited, and sourced in the paper. You can go right to the website and say it. So here's the other thing that's a little nugget we found out. In the investigation in this, okay, what's going to happen is it's going to come out soon that we are not operating in safe harbor. Who here understands what safe harbor is? All right, Bill, can you just briefly talk about safe harbor for me?
If you do
something, you're not subject to attack for doing something.
Yep. So there are 8 minimum requirements in order to operate within Safe Harbor, and one of those requirements is requirement number 7, which stipulates that you need to operate within your organization's rules, regulations, or bylaws, right, in order to have checks and balances and promote the physical or the fiscal responsibility and fiduciary responsibility of the organization. So by extricating the budget committee from the process of any financial decisions, it only takes one, because as soon as you violate one, you lose all safe harbor protection. If you don't know what safe harbor protection means, it means this. It means every time you make that mistake on your campaign finance form, okay, they see that mistake as a mistake. It was a mistake that was made, in good faith. That's the protection of Safe Harbor. It's very cozy. It allows you to do horrible things and then go back and say, I can explain it all. And they just take you on your word for a lot of it. It's kind of how this thing can get really weird in politics, to be honest with you guys. But once you lose Safe Harbor, what does that mean? That means that you are adversarial. So immediately, every lens and new piece of information that comes into the investigator or the FEC analyst at that time will be seen as adversarial information. They will prosecute and pursue, because you're not under the auspice of them assuming that you're trying to do the right things. All this is going to burn down with this document in these 3 ways. We are filing a complaint with the FEC. We are going to file a complaint with the state of Michigan. We're going to file a complaint in several counties where injured and aggrieved parties reside for violations of employment law. I didn't get into the employment law stuff because I don't have a whole bunch of extra time, but the reason I'm telling you guys all this is because this is what I've been doing and why I've been doing what I've been doing for 2 months. Going on podcasts and looking like a crazy person and doing wild stuff on Twitter or whatever else. It's because I had to keep the media and the interest in how bad this situation is until we had the facts. And they keep saying, he's got no facts, he's got no facts. And I just had to take it. Yeah, you're right. I don't right now, but I will. And I know I told you all, just wait, just wait, just wait. Well, that day has arrived. We're here. We're at a crossroads. And so at the end of this meeting, this is what I would encourage you to do. Think long and hard about the path forward and what that means for the party. And being part of the solution and not part of the problem. And there is a solution out there, either in the form of what Bree and Andy have been working on, or the form in the policy document for amendment that Ian put forward to the policy committee. We have the ability to call a meeting of our own time, of our own agenda, of our own place, and conduct an ability to lower the threshold of the bylaws to vacate the chair. That takes 2/3. So everyone in this room, I appreciate you for coming here, but you're getting homework. And what that homework is this. That homework is the calls. The homework is the whip. The homework is sharing the documentation. You want to keep it inside the state committee meeting? That's how I would prefer that you guys would do this. I know it's going to get out. It's okay. Maybe it should, right? It should. Maybe it should. And I'll leave that to you guys, because it's, even though it's technically a document that I've been working on, this is all made for you. The only reason I'm here, the only reason I'm at this room, this is for you. To be able to make an educated decision and do the right thing. As soon as I knew I was wrong, I stopped. I turned around, and I ran into the people that were making fun of me earlier on. But I'm happy to be here. And hi, Joe. So with that being said, I really want you guys to focus on the hope in the future, which is that you guys will have the ability to pick a new chair of your choosing in this body and from this body. So please listen to the remaining speakers. Get your heads on tight. Look for more communication. Sign the petitions.
Room today. Our next item on the agenda is a report by Ann Delau. She had a few things to say as well about the situation we're in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's a few things, several points I wish to make in addressing you as fellow state committee members this afternoon. So I want to first talk about a major conflict of interest that the chair of the Republican Party has. And that's called, it's a 501c3, pending 501c3, or pending 501c4, not-for-profit organization in the state of Nevada called unauthorized. You can go to www.unauthorized.one, O-N-E, spelled out, and you can see this not-for-profit organization. This not-for-profit organization exists to help candidates from all political parties get elected. All political parties. Does that include the Republican Party? Yes. Does it include other parties? Yes. For those of you who are county chairs, how many of you, please raise your hand, or if you're on executive committees, please raise your hand if it is part of your bylaws that if you endorse another candidate from another political party, that is grounds for removal.
There you go.
Okay? So the chairwoman of Michigan's Republican Party is the president of unauthorized. And we have pulled the articles of incorporation.
And I confronted Christina about that at the budget committee meeting in an email. She told us that she resigned that position in June.
Well, she may have resigned that position in June, but she is still listed as the president of that organization. And that organization was incorporated, it was put together on April 5th, 2023, which I believe is 46 days after she was elected as the chairwoman of the Republican Party. Okay? That's a major conflict of interest. That being said, our chairwoman has not once spoken up or in favor of the electors from the 2020 election. We have 16 electors, including Hank Choate, who's in this room with us today. Not once has she stood up and spoken out on their behalf. And I don't care if you don't like it because of Michonne Maddock. I don't care if you don't like it because of Laura Cox. But those individuals need our support, and they deserve our support because why? They have an R after their name, and we're next, right? They are being harassed, and it's being done intentionally to prevent others from us from standing up. The next thing I wish to address is the fact the vice chairs have been ostracized. Our co-chair and our vice chairs have not been given ample opportunity to speak or address this committee, or and they have not been able to give report. At least the last meeting in Mackinac, when's the last time you were able to give report, Ali?
The first meeting.
Was the first meeting. First meeting, okay? And on Mackinac, if you were on Mackinac Island, you'll know that when Bernadette Smith and Melinda Pego were getting ready to stand up and make motions, immediately the meeting shut down. And I'm not saying that was wrong. I know people wanted to get going and everything else, and I know you guys say I'm long-winded and you get tired of hearing me. But the point is, we've been asking questions, we've been trying to get things go through because we know something's wrong, and we've been trying to help everyone open their eyes to see that there's something desperately wrong with our party right now. But they have not been given the opportunity to speak. You have your hand up, Lisa.
Bernadette was standing up there for almost 30 minutes, and Christina claimed to not have seen her.
That's correct. And I rode over on the ferry afterwards. Bernadette was hot, right? Bernadette was hot. She was very upset. She had to leave. She was here a few minutes ago. She had to leave earlier. However, Bernadette had things she wanted to say, and Bernadette told me personally. She said, Christina, you know what you're doing is wrong. Okay? The next thing I wish to say is in the infighting. Our chair continues to claim that the reason why she cannot fundraise is because we are infighting. We're a political party, people. We have differences of opinion. Right? Does anybody here agree 100% of the time with their spouse? No. I know you're lying, I know you're lying, I know you're lying, and I know you're lying. All right? Even if your wife says, yes, dear, that doesn't mean that she agrees. All right? So, we need to get serious, though, right? We have serious work to do. And this is not infighting. We're calling attention to the fact that there's something desperately wrong with our party. Our party structure right now in the state of Michigan is sick, and we're trying to help it get better. So I've made this analogy to several people, and they said that makes a lot of sense. We need to stop looking at this as Christina Cromwell, our friend. We have to take the name off, and we need to look at this objectively for what it is. She is the chair of a board, and we are her board members. and we have to evaluate her performance, right? And we're looking at her performance, right? This is where she came in. This is the even line. Microphone's the even line. This is where she came in. Her cash was here, right? And our debt was just a little bit above that. Now our debt is up here, and our cash is below even, right? That's a drastic drop. We are 0% to our $50 million fundraising goal that she was confident she could raise, all right? We have increased our debt by approximately 67%, and we are 0% of cash on hand. Those are very, very serious numbers. Not to mention the other things that Warren has talked about. And investors do not invest in companies that have no return on investment, that have no product, and the company is rumored to be in bankruptcy, right? So the problem is our product, and our chairwoman is not turning out a good product. So in conclusion, I wish to say to you, the rhetoric needs to stop. Those of us in this room are not members of the deep state. We are not members of the deep state. We do not wish ill on our chairwoman. We want her to succeed and thrive, but she is unable to do that, and it's not because we are preventing her. It is because she simply is not capable of the job to which she has been elected. Yeah, and to we're not Marxist either. We are the grassroots, and we want our party back. So before you leave, please, there is a petition. There is a petition, and we need you to sign it. This is not we're not saying that we're going to vote her out, but we do need to take a vote, and we need to get very serious about the direction of this party, because we have less than 11 months before we're at the polls for a general election. And right now, our party, what's happening on our state committee, is actually hurting Republican candidates, and we can do something about that.
Thank you, Amy. We are at the point in our agenda for new business. If there's any new business that will be brought before.
I'm Dennis Marburger from the 11th, and I would request we consider.
Come on up, Mr. Or I can come to you and give you a microphone.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dennis Marburger with the 11th Congressional District Republican Committee, and we do have 3 resolutions that have gone through the Issues Committee and are on the agenda at the other meeting, and I would request that we consider all 3 of these here. I think they're excellent. All 3 of them. I'd be willing to make a motion that we approve all 3 as a package together, unless somebody says, well, we should consider each one separately. But I think they're all outstanding, and so I'd like to make a motion that we vote in favor of all 3 resolutions. The first, to stop the prosecution of Donald J. Trump. The second, calling for an end of U.S. taxpayer subsidy to Azerbaijan. And the third, calling for an end to U.S. involvement in the war in Ukraine. And that is my motion.
All right, the motion was made by Mr. Marburger from the 11th Congressional District, seconded by Bill Leatherman, also of the 11th Congressional District. Is there discussion on the motion? Mr. Schickler.
Who's on the Issues Committee that worked these up? So they all unanimous?
Deferring to Bill from the Issues Committee. Question is, were the resolutions unanimous within the Issues Committee? Well, we'll defer to the Secretary. She's going to pull up the report.
Well, no, there are 4.
This will just take a few moments. Dennis, would you like to take a few moments and talk about those resolutions in more detail for the meeting?
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, I'd like to talk about one in particular, which is the resolution regarding United States subsidy American taxpayer subsidy for the genocidal, ethnic cleansing terrorist state of Azerbaijan, which is ruled by an oil-rich dictator named Ilham Aliyev, who has appointed his wife, Mihriban, as his vice president, and who has run roughshod over the people of Azerbaijan. But to the point of this resolution, he is also engaged in genocide and war crimes against the people of Armenia, including in an area called Artsakh, which for over 1,700 years was Armenian and Christian, was subjected to blockade. They've been under attack time and time again by Azerbaijan. Now the Armenian population, the Christian Armenian population of Azerbaijan, and Armenia was the first officially Christian nation, they've all been driven out of Artsakh into Armenia itself. Azerbaijan and Turkey are working to eventually destroy Armenia, and it's an outrage that American taxpayer dollars go to subsidize this. George Washington said we shouldn't be taking sides in these fights overseas. And there's a moral hazard that's involved here. U.S. taxpayer money subsidizing this sinful behavior, these war crimes. U.S. military collaboration with this regime is shocking to the conscience. And our resolution called for an end to all of that, as well as for Azerbaijan to release the hostages they've taken, and for the American people to no longer be put on the wrong side of this conflict. And so I would strongly urge that we pass this as a matter of conscience and as a matter to say that we will not allow the hard-earned money of Americans to go for the eradication of Christians and Christian civilization, and for the eradication, frankly, of anyone. That is not in our values. That is something we should all stand up against. And I strongly urge that we vote in favor of this resolution.
I would like to move that we separate Dennis's resolution from the other two and vote on that separately.
There's a motion on the floor from Mr. Schinkel to separate the question, divide the question, and vote on the motion regarding Azerbaijan. That has been seconded. Is there a second for that? Seconded by Ann Delisle. All in favor of the motion to divide the question, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the question is divided. So we have a motion on the floor on the resolution regarding U.S. taxpayers subsidizing the genocide in Azerbaijan.
And if I just one detail, what we're calling for is the enforcement of Section 907 of the Freedom Support Act. So this is U.S. law that's been waived by president after president, but now it's calling for no more waiving of this. Enforce the law, no more subsidy for Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against the resolution? Any further speakers in favor of the resolution? All right, all in favor of passing this resolution, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the resolution is passed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We still have the matter on the table of the resolution to against the prosecution. Yes, we have two more resolutions on the table in a package together. I believe the first was a resolution against the persecution of Donald J. Trump. And the second resolution was the one to cease taxpayer involvement in the funding of the war in Ukraine. Those are still together in a package. We have a response to the question from Mr. Schinkel on the Issues Committee vote on those resolutions. What is the vote?
So I actually only have two. I don't think I have the one from Trump, but the that one, they're, no, I know, I just want to let people know that actually it was, there were people absent, but other people that were there, it was unanimous. And then same thing for the war in Ukraine. Other people that were there, we had, it was unanimously approved to pass those through. So I'll get that answer.
Okay, did everybody hear that? Emily, can you repeat that? Maybe come on up here, I'll meet you.
So I don't have the information on the Donald Trump one, but the other two were passed unanimously through the Issues Committee.
Okay, so the one matter that is pending on the subsidies of the war in Ukraine was passed unanimously through the Issues Committee, and we do not have the report on the Donald J. Trump prosecution resolution. Are there anyone that wishes to speak on behalf of these resolutions or opposed to these resolutions?
anybody have the pros and cons on the Ukrainian resolution with them?
Let's just, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to table these since we don't have them in front of us.
There's a motion to table these two final resolutions.
I would like to.
They were mailed out, I think.
Okay, I withdraw my motion.
The motion to table is dropped.
And I would urge, I think it was a very well documented on the Ukrainian one in particular, having read that, and the great risk that this is providing for all of us and many other reasons. So I would urge also the passage of that resolution, as well as the other one, but particularly if we're talking about Ukraine, I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, so there's a speech in favor of the Ukraine motion. Anyone want to speak against the Ukraine motion or resolution?
Do you have any objection? Hank, do you have any objection?
All right, then we will call the question without any objection. The matter before us is whether or not we should approve the resolution against the prosecution of Donald J. Trump and the resolution to cease taxpayer involvement and subsidy of the war in Ukraine. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. We continue on to new business. Is there any other new business? The gentleman from Livingston County.
I'd like to introduce a resolution for the statement of as follows.
I'd like to introduce Dan Wallahan, 7th District Chair, Livingston County. I'd like to introduce a resolution as a statement as follows. We, the people, request that the Michigan Republican Party administration do not meddle in district and county internal affairs, period.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Okay, the resolution has been motioned. Is there support for this? As seconded by Ms. Mackey.
Of course, our bylaws already say that.
Discussion on the resolution proposed by the gentleman from Livingston County. Point of information from, go ahead.
Don't resolutions have to be, provided before with notice, I guess I'm just gonna ask, I thought all resolutions had to have notice, so I think having a discussion's fine, but I do think that they need to notice.
How about it is,
I'm open to not calling it a resolution and just a statement.
How about a recognition of the law?
Recognition we'll call it.
I have a point of information.
Point of information, sir.
Is any of this binding into any of the state committee, because it's not officially a state committee meeting, is it? So I mean, is everything we're doing, is it just ceremonial?
Essentially.
Okay, thank you.
We want to give people the notice.
Right. We didn't push that.
The gentleman from Washtenaw County?
Yeah, just a point of clarification on that. The state party does have some control over county parties when it comes to conventions. So I think I agree with you, but it needs to be amended to stay within existing state laws.
Dan, do you want to restate or state?
Bylaws.
I'll restate as in a statement, a resolution that request from the delegates, state committee members, that the Michigan Republican Party and its administration do not meddle in the affairs of internal county and district party business. In all matters that do not reference state conventions. State conventions, the only part where they have power.
Ms. Birchwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for providing me with this opportunity.
My name is Maggie Kurzweil, and I'm very active in Oakland 7. I sit on the executive committee. And one of the things that I think all state committee members should be looking at, particularly if you are a county chair sitting in here tonight or this afternoon, you need to understand what is being proposed at the state level. That is why Christina is very upset. Because she has a proposed bylaw that she wants to get passed that gives her the authority to remove a county chair. Now think about that. And precinct delegates.
And district chairs.
And district chairs.
Any purview of the Michigan Republican Party, any purview.
Anything. She wants to come in. If you do not bow to her, she wants you removed. Now you need to understand this from the county level. If this goes through, I, for one, will not be active in my county party anymore because I will not give my money to MRP. My money goes to the county. I live in the county. I support the county candidates. If I want to work on a national campaign, I'll work on a national campaign or a state campaign. But I do not want that state coming in and imposing on my county ideology that is disenfranchising to my voter base, that is disenfranchising to individuals that will run for the executive committee, that is disenfranchising to donors. You need to understand where she is going. She wants control of your county party. And once her person is in place in the county party, the next question she's going to ask is the password for your bank accounts. Because this is going to be her funding train. She will take control of your county party. She will take a percentage of your money, and that'll be the end of it. And what is she going to say? Well, I'm not going to do this for you, and not going to do that for you. Okay, here's the arguments, ladies and gentlemen. We are autonomous. These county parties do not owe an allegiance to the state party. We have our own MRPs. We have our own campaign financing. We have our own leases on our own buildings. We have our own EINs. We have our own insurance policies in which the MRP is not named as an additionally named insured. That isn't going to happen. They are never going to be on an insurance policy at all. They stay off. We enter into employment agreements with our own people for our own executive directors. We are not going to allow MRP to come in and tell us who we are going to hire as our executive directors.
Or district.
So this is why this is so important, and many of us are fighting this battle. So even if you are a Christina person, okay, I respect you because I'm tolerant of other opinions. But you need to go back to your county, and you need to ask yourself, you are hearing today what Christina has done to the state party. Do you want her to do that to your county party? Thank you. I yield, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we will continue a new business as people need. Before we continue, I want to make just one quick announcement, and that is that Chairwoman Caramo has adjourned their meeting. So they are done. They cannot call for a quorum or anything or any business. So I'm happy to moderate this as long as people want to talk. But we have achieved our primary goal today, which was to deny our quorum, make sure that we have a voice, make sure we have silence our voice by muting us and ignoring us. I just as a question, Tim, you raised your hand in that meeting at 11 o'clock. Were you ever even recognized? Not even recognized. 4 hours with his hand up. His arm must be very sore.
That's discrimination to white men.
Mr. Chair, I just have to say, I didn't make a single comment in that meeting, and it still went 4 hours.
All right, we're going to yield a few seconds to Mr. Schickel. Want to make a statement?
On Dan's motion that Maggie spoke to, the template to have top-down control and give it to Christina or Hartman was in the conflict resolution committee since April. And with the efforts of Bree, myself and others, it didn't move. And that's one of the reasons conflict resolution was dissolved. And one of the reasons the policy was stacked, because she wants to get through policy. So let's support Dan's motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith wanted to speak, and he had his hand up before, but Mr. Smith would speak.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that not only by our party bylaws, but by the state law, MCL, is this committee right here is the one that determines who county's parties are. So the county situation, a state committee dictates who the state party chooses. And it's like right now in Hillsdale, we still got two.
Sorry, everybody, I'm sick.
So like in Hillsdale, we got our state
Doesn't have to. I'm not used to that. Yeah, so. Oh, sorry. No, like in Hillsdale, we got statutory members that are indifferent with our group of people. By MCL code and by our state party bylaws, this state committee is the one that determines who the authority party is in any particular county.
So in Kelly's situation,
Kalamazoo situation, we determine what body we choose. But typically, you wouldn't do it in a meeting like this. You would have like some sort of a credential committee, if you will, after a convention. So it really doesn't take a whole body to vote this. You just have a little credential committee to do it. So I think that's with Kalamazoo.
Thank you. Before we're going to go very quickly, we're going to go to the gentleman from Livingston County because he technically put a motion forward.
Since the main business is not done, I'll just say, do you want to withdraw a motion one for the next special meeting that's being called?
no, don't. Let's endorse your motion.
Okay, so we want to, there is a move by Mr. Schinkel to call a question on Dan's motion. Somebody want we have a gentleman that wants to make a statement on the motion. Okay, and then Mr. Fortin wants to make a statement on the motion as well. Go ahead.
Okay.
My name is David Tour. I'm from Saginaw County. I'm one of the 2 executive committee members that was removed unanimously by a rogue party, leadership and executive committee. We had no recourse. Our case went to the conflict resolution committee. Found out like 2 months later, it had never been heard. The other executive committee members couldn't make it. It's my guest that I brought today. My only concern is there is an issue where people are getting removed. They're not breaking any laws. They're not committing felonies. They're not working with the Democratic Party or doing anything nefarious. Is there going to be some kind of recourse in instances like that? That's my only concern. We have no recourse. We have no due process. We have nothing. We just said, got letters, you're removed from the executive committee, done and over with. Well, we have the Constitution. We have right of due process. And we didn't get it. Right, Jim? Correct. No. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fortin of Macomb County, will speak on the motion.
About the motion. Ladies and gentlemen, my attorney had to leave. I thank you for allowing him to come as my guest because Christina would not, because he's not a delegate. He is not just my attorney and Lisa's, he's also the attorney for Cliff Frost, one of the 16 people that Christina doesn't have time to discuss. Now, we put this ever since Hartman's summit meeting, his illegal summit meeting. Kevin has been paying attention to this stuff, and I gave him the summit letter, this and that, our Michigan bylaws, this and that. Kevin said, without a doubt, they're trying to take over the county parties, and he said, if this committee votes on Kalamazoo or any other county matter, this committee is taking charge of the counties. They're putting a cornerstone, a block, a foundation piece, whatever, that they can build bylaws on in the next step and the next step. We cannot get involved in the counties. If you remember, how many of you were at the August convention where Macomb County was reseated? We thank you, because my vice chair and I and another 100 Macomb County delegates were in the guest area and we had no voice. And you people put us back, and you didn't put us back because you know me or her or anybody in our committee. You did it because of Republican policy, the rule of law. You knew it was wrong for Ron Weiser to come into Macomb County, send emails to all the delegates telling them that to attend a convention of the people that threw us out, because that's the only people to be considered at the state convention. And guess what? We found out later, after doing analysis, that 71 of the people that they put on the floor were never a delegate. So we in Macomb County, we're changing the whole darn mess. From now on, all delegates go if they want to go. And Macomb has been a perpetual battle between this group and that group. And people don't send people, it's a bunch of garbage. Every delegate in Macomb will go as an alternate or delegate, period. No one will be left out. But that's what happened, folks. Now, Dan Hartman learned in court that, guess what? Weiser had no right to do it. Now, he's the guy that learned it, and he, along with a guy named Mike Lavity and Copus, these people are trying to take over the counties. This is about delegates to the National Convention for Donald Trump. Why do you think the Uniparty moved this thing up? To go from 55 delegate Republicans down to what, 16? 12, I'm sorry, okay? They know delegates from Michigan will be voting for Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, their whole efforts, the Uniparty and everything, all these creepy people, they've been trying to keep Trump out no matter what. Take him to court, do everything. And all they do is raise his numbers in his coffers. The American people want that man, and they're trying to drive him out like they did Teddy Roosevelt in 1912. It's all about the delegates. It's all about controlling the counties to control the delegates. And we must not vote on any county issue, at least this year, until the smoke clears and we know exactly what we're doing. Thank you.
There's a motion to call the question. Is there support?
Yeah.
Support.
All right, support by Bethany Wheeler. We're going to give Dan an opportunity to restate his statement so we know what we're voting on.
We, the members of state committee, demand that Michigan Republican Party administration and state committee do not meddle in the internal affairs of county and district parties, except in state convention, that's state business, and the limited authority there.
Okay, the question has been called, the statement's been reread. All in favor of the statement say aye. Aye. All opposed? Statement passes.
Recorded as unanimous.
Recorded as unanimous vote. At this time, I'm going to yield 2 minutes to the gentlelady from the 6th District for an announcement.
Hey everybody, my name is Hima. I'm the 6th District Chair. I am running for the Republican National Committee Women position. And the reason I'm doing that is because I see that we need a lot of help. Our party needs a lot of help. And historically, in Michigan, the Republican National Committee of Women have not really done much, but I'm not a person who signs up for anything where there is no role for me or if there is no value add. And I am a business owner, IT staffing firm. I have 700 employees. I'm a district chair. I have 3 children. I have several other businesses. So when I put my finger into something, I give my all. Like as a district chair, within the first 3 months, we raised about $25,000. So when I say that this job, there can be a lot that can be done, I really mean it. So somebody asked me that if I have a PAC that is going to support this position because it's an expensive position, there's a lot of travel. I said that is a disgrace. If I need support of a PAC to support my expenses to run for this position and to keep traveling for this position, because that's not what I'm signing up for. I want to create a PAC that people will donate to, so I can actually support the candidates and the party in our state. And I am actually thinking I will match the first $50,000 that come into the PAC, so I can support our state. So I am not, there's no point if I am going to be a sucker of the first $25,000 because I need to pay my expenses. That's not what I'm looking for. So this is, again, a job that I'm signing up for, where I want to give my 100% and support our state and the candidates, because let's be clear, our party is not able to do it. So we need to look elsewhere, and I'm ready to do my job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion to remove James Copus from the administration.
Second. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to remove James Corpus, made by Macomb County. Who is the second on that? Mr. Glazer on the fifth district.
We have the power to do it.
Yes.
All right. Is there a question?
Yes. This meeting is the only meeting with a forum. Now, true, they can say it's illegal, they can say anything, and I say that it's a summit meeting of the state committee meeting, state committee. We can have a summit meeting. And if they don't accept it, they don't accept it, but the media will hear it, and she'll hear it, and they gotta hear it. And we gotta get rid of people we can get rid of that are no good, and I wanna speak to that issue when I have, if you guys accept that motion.
Ms. Kurtzwell of South Lyon would like to amend the motion.
I would request from Lisa a friendly amendment. In addition to Lisa, I too would like to move the Michigan Republican Party and the Michigan Republican State Committee to immediately and forthwith sever any relationship the Michigan Republican Party and the Michigan Republican State Committee have with James Michael Copus, directly or indirectly, including but not limited to the following: no affiliation of any sort with the Michigan Republican Party and the Michigan Republican State Committee, be that as an employee, a consultant, an advisor, volunteer or otherwise, shall be permitted, encouraged, or solicited with James Michael information, any matter that could be construed proprietary and of an intellectual nature be shared, discussed, or provided to James Michael Copus or any of his various aliases. That this motion is made as a result of the threatening language spewed by James Michael Copus, including threats of civil and criminal liability towards delegates and state committee members for exercising their First Amendment right to freedom of assembly, and most notably in a written document dated August 10th of 2023. That this motion is made in part as a result of James Michael Copus' statements to the Macomb County Chair, that if the Macomb County Chair did not agree with the takeover of the county's bylaws, Carravo would remove him, dissolve the Macomb County Executive Committee, and start over. Such dangerous language continues to erode the Republican Party of Michigan, disenfranchise county delegates, disenchantise elected state committee members, disenfranchise donors, and ensures Democratic victories in 2024. For these reasons and more, I move to get rid of James Michael Copus.
Okay, the motion was brought by Ms. Kurtzwell of South Lyon. The chair is going to rule that motion out of order.
Point of order.
The motion has been ruled out of order. Point of order to the gentleman from Macomb County.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is December 2nd, 2023. We are flat broke. We've got an out of control group running our park, who are literally, can anyone here stand up and say they are not intentionally destroying the MIGOP in a doggone key state?
Can the gentleman state his point of order?
Huh?
Can you state your point of order, please?
This is a meeting. It's a meeting of the state committee of the Republican Party. Now, we know the situation. We know we're supposed to meet 15 miles away. We know that this stupid thing came up that we do not believe, myself personally. This is a setup. They never, ever intended to have a face-to-face meeting because they didn't want to face the committee.
Okay.
We're going to go through this month after month.
Okay, the gentleman's point of order is...
I'm saying that your ruling is wrong. These people
Are
should
you
vote
appealing
on
the
this
ruling of the chair? Are you appealing the ruling of the chair?
I'm appealing the move.
Okay, the gentleman has appealed the ruling of the chair under Robert's rules.
The next meeting, we can do the same thing.
The gentleman has appealed the ruling of the chair under Robert's rules. The chair gets first, and then the gentleman can speak. The reason I ruled the amendment, or the motion, and the friendly amendment out of order is this is not the state committee meeting. We just went through this in Macomb last year. We went through this in Kalamazoo where we had separate meetings, and we're all in a mess. By our bylaws, the chair, and only the chair, can call the time and place of a meeting unless we follow the special meeting procedures. She did not call this meeting. We were not part of her official meeting. And by going down and trying to make these motions, we're just creating more chaos that will not hold up in court. And I believe as chair, that's not proper. And I think we should do this one step at a time, have our special meeting, and move forward. Trust me, if we were having a meeting with her in person, like we should have, we have a motion to remove Copus and many more that were on our agenda. But in this setting, this is not the appropriate time to bring that motion. The chair recognized Mr. Fortin from Macomb County to speak on his appeal first.
Forgive me, sorry.
Okay. You appealed the ruling of the chair. I spoke to why I made the ruling. You get to speak to why you disagree with the ruling.
I will acquiesce if I may make a statement.
The floor is yours to make a statement.
E 60 seconds. Okay, listen. Okay, for the sake of tactics, but I would like to make a clarification, if I may, just talk very briefly and very quickly about the short conversation I had at Saturday night at the Mackinac Conference in the lobby of the Grand Hotel with Mr. Copus. It's short. I was speaking with Hassan. You're familiar with the lobby of the Grand Hotel. So we're in the middle of the lobby, and behind us was a stairway going up, and in front of us was all the windows over there, where all the couches and everything and chairs. My vice chair was over there, talking to a bunch of people, and Hassan and I were talking, and I was asking Hassan about the vice chairs. I had heard how their guys are iced out. And we were talking about that, and Hassan said to me, "There's James Copus." Really? I almost snapped to attention. Really? Well, I got to talk to him. Excuse me. I went and found Lisa, and we went and I talked to Mr. Copus. Very short. I'm almost done. I introduced myself and her, Macomb County Chair, Vice Chair. I said, "There's things going on that concern me, and maybe you can help clear it up." He said, "Well," quite a guy. He said, "Well, first of all, I never lie to either one of you, and I don't care what you think." Okay, I'm good with that. Don't lie. I don't care what he thinks about what I say. But anyway, he said, "First of all, this is what we have to have. We have to have the same identical bylaws in all 83 counties, or everybody's bylaws have to contain certain elements demanded by the state." I said, "Really?" So I'll tell you what, I can't do that. I'm the chairman. I can't just do that. It's going to go before the committee. Now, the committee will look at that and discuss it. Somebody will make a motion in a second. There might be more discussion, but there's going to be a vote eventually, and they may not like what you're doing. Well, we're real close, like me and Roland. Well, he does that in my face, snaps his fingers. He says, "Well, then you will no longer be chair." He pointed at Lisa Mankiewicz. "You will no longer be vice chair. The chairwoman will dissolve the Macomb County Committee, and there'll be a new election in Macomb County for a committee." That is what he said. Lisa said, are you really a Republican? He said, I'm too far right to be a Republican. And that was the end of the comment. And that is almost a tape recording. I'll never forget that conversation. So ladies and gentlemen, this guy's got to go. If you want to do it today, he's going. He's got to go. And so does Studebaker, and so does this chair that allows it.
Thank you. Before we vote on the appealing of the chair, Robert's rules allows me a brief rebuttal. We have a point of order interrupting the appeal.
Over here.
No.
This way, Dan.
Point of order.
Are you, I'm sorry, Mr. DePerno, before we get, are you a proxy or a member of the committee?
No, but I am a delegate here.
I
just want to point out.
Okay, go ahead.
The bylaws only state that the chair shall call a meeting. It doesn't say anything about time or place. You have your quorum here. This is the state committee meeting. You have quorum. You can take action.
If there's any question about it at all,
Okay, per Robert's rules, I do, as the chair here, give a rebuttal to the arguments presented. And I would say that our Michigan My GOP bylaws do give the chair the opportunity, and solely the chair, to call the time and place of meetings. I would say that I understand the need and the enthusiasm for getting rid of Mr. Kopis and others. And, perhaps I even share that if I could have divulged that, but I can't because I'm chair. But it is critical that we act in accordance with Robert's rules. It's critical we act in accordance with the bylaws, or else we lose the same legitimacy that she has lost.
Right.
And so to do this properly at a special meeting to be called within a few weeks is what I recommend. That is why I ruled this motion out of order. And so I believe we now take a vote on that, unless we have more people that will talk on that. JD, go ahead.
I do not disagree that we did not follow the rules for a special meeting, so to maintain legitimacy, I concur with that. I do think it is important that that it be changed from a motion to a resolution, because I do believe that it is important that everybody know that this huge body of people were of the mind that this replacement, this removal needed to happen. So if it's not official, the message needs to be sent that we can't. So I would.
Are you motioning an amendment?
An amendment to change it from motion to resolve.
yes. That's a friendly amendment. Put it on the special meeting agenda.
Okay, so just very quickly, we have the special meeting agenda that we talked about does include Jim Kopis on there. So, okay, there is an appeal of the chair on the floor. Anyone want to speak to the appeal of the chair? Okay, just to be clear, JD wanted to make an amendment, but there's not an amendment available at this time because we are discussing the appeal of the chair. So that can wait till after the appeal is settled, and then we can make an amendment to whatever motion may or may not exist on the floor. The ruling of the chair is that the motion presented is out of order. We've had discussion on that. The question of the body is, shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the ruling of the chair is sustained. The motion is out of order. I would defer now to Mr. Glacier if you want to make the motion presented as you wanted to restate it.
I move to amend Maggie's statement.
Oh, no, that's not a motion.
I thought we just said we're back there.
No, new motion, new motion.
The gentleman, yeah, he is allowed to make a motion at this time. If his motion is to adopt that statement with an amendment, we can fit forward that.
I move to adopt Maggie's statement with an amendment that changes it to resolve.
Resolve? recommendation?
Resolution.
A resolve, okay, to me, a resolve is a resolution, so that we make a resolution to remove, that is the will of this assembly, to remove Jim Kopis at the next special meeting.
Okay.
Resolve that this body calls for the removal of Jim Kopis.
And then that, we want that in the record. We want that in the record. No. We can do the resolution.
We can't do the resolution because it's not been properly noticed.
It's a statement. It's a statement.
The gentlelady from Wesleyan.
Do we have enough signed to actually call the special meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so we actually have enough people signed
We
to call
have
a special
38.
meeting?
We have 38.
Okay.
If there's anybody else who has not signed it, we need to sign it.
The parliamentarian is saying that a resolution is not appropriate because it would then forming committee's approval or subcommittee. We recommend making it as a statement of the body.
A statement of position.
A statement of position. All right, can we have that? The chair will entertain that motion. Okay, so the motion from the gentleman from the 5th District is that it be a statement of the body to the Michigan, a statement of the body that the Michigan Republican Party and the Michigan State Republican State Committee immediately enforce with several relationships, so on and so forth, as read by Ms. Kirschwell.
Second. Second.
Is that clear? Okay, that motion was made by Mr. Glazier and seconded by Ms. Kirschwell. A discussion on that, Ms. Lee.
Point of information. So, you just ruled the other statement out of order?
No, the motion.
The chair ruled the motion to remove Jim Kopis out of order.
Thank you.
The chair is ruling in order a statement of this body to recommend the removal of each other.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That is passed. Recorded as unanimous, please.
I'm ready to adjourn after we agree on about the special meeting.
Okay, we'll have a brief update about the special meeting status from Ms. Bree.
Just call me Miss Bree. All right, is everyone listening here?
Yeah.
All right, really quick though, because I actually didn't get the mic to tell you this a second. Everybody put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air, okay? Move them to the left. You're going to the right. Move to the left. Move to the right. Okay, you're done. I don't want you in this room anymore.
Okay.
What did I just do? Exactly what Chair Carano can do. I need everybody in here to listen up because I tried to email this, and I know you get a lot of information. But what Mr. Horton said, what Lisa has said, what you have heard other people say about Jim Kopis has been said. And I'm telling you it's been said because in conflict resolution, Haas is shaking his head. He went to conflict resolution meetings. In case you didn't know, I'm a state committee woman from the 2nd District. Haas is ex officio that attended all of the conflict resolution. I am a former conflict resolution member, as we have many other former conflict resolution members here. In June, Jim Kopis entered our conflict resolution meeting. He legitimately, in his eyes, tried to get us to move to pass the conflict resolution draft that had been put together by him and Dan Hartman. And I said, excuse me, point of order. Chair Braden, this is not on the agenda. I don't have a copy of this draft. Mr. Kopis, why would you ask somebody to pass a draft of a document they have not seen? And furthermore, while I appreciate your opinion, Mr. Kopis, you are not an ex officio member, and you do not have a voice, and you are not on the agenda. So I move that this discussion ends. Discussion ended, they never came back. So now we're to the 2.0 document, right? Conflict resolution, you guys need to listen to me over there. You listening? Conflict resolution committee was dissolved. What did they do the following week in the staff policy committee? You guys need to listen. They put conflict resolution on the stacked policy committee agenda. Ian chaired the subcommittee of conflict resolution on policy. Ian, are you still on the policy committee?
Not last I checked.
Oh, you're not? That's weird. So the guy that was on the subcommittee for conflict resolution is no longer there, but it's still on the agenda. It was on the agenda. So what I sent to you on Giving Tuesday, I gave you all what I refer to as the 2.0 State Supreme document. Lots of good stuff in there, but you need to listen to this one statement because it is the confirmation of everything that Jim Kopis has said. And again, I'm going to go back to June in that meeting. Mandate and require. Do you remember those words? Because we were told multiple times that the MRP wants to mandate and require the counties. And my response, I don't know if you're all eating magic brownies or smoking something, but I'm pretty sure during COVID that didn't work. Are you trying to take this from me? Yeah. I'm going to read my sentence now. Okay, so this is from the draft. The MIGOP chair retains the authority and jurisdiction to address any and all conflicts, if necessary, to fulfill her fiduciary duties. The chair may at any time call a conflict directly to the committee for review. If it is apparent that a federal or state crime has been committed, a conflict may be directly addressed by the MIGOP chair. And in case you weren't aware of who that includes, it includes county committees, congressional districts, other subdivisions of the MIGOP. We adopt and intend to utilize the following conflict resolution process to handle any and all such relevant conflicts, including those involving delegates. You're welcome. That's all. I'm sorry. It's only because you called me Miss Bree. Not maybe.
Thank you, Ms. Bree. Before we're going to entertain Mr. Shingles in just a moment. A few housekeeping things. First, it's critically important to sign the petition for the special meeting. If you have not signed, make sure you do. Also sign for Christina and Dan Hartman so we can move forward on those issues. We want to thank the members of the Multi-Lakes. We want to thank the 11th Congressional, Oakland County Republican Party, everyone else, and we're grateful that you were so inclined to be here and join us today. We accomplished a lot. Mr. Fortin. 30 seconds, Mr. Fortin.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the name of 83 counties, I'm asking every committee member to sign those petitions. 83 counties, the delegates in them, who may go to national convention, state conventions, everything like this.
Two quick other things. First off, remember you can have food and drink at the adjacent next building here. So if you wish to, please feel free to spend some money here and support them for the letting us use their facility on such short notice. We also need to pick up tables and chairs. So if anyone's willing to stay and help move the tables and chairs and get those put away so they can use their facility as
Mr.
they
Chairman,
plan tomorrow.
I think you forgot, if no one signed a petition to remove Christina Rommel, why the hell not? They're right up here, let's do this.
Please make sure you sign those petitions.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Shetland.
I'd like to move to strike from the record the amendment made to remove Jim Kopis from the record. I'd like to move to strike that motion, or I guess I think it was an amendment. Sorry about that. I'd like to move to strike the motion to remove Jim Kopis from the record, so we can start clean in our special meeting.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to strike from the record the adopted motion on Jim Kopis. Oh, to strike from the record the previous motion that was ruled out of order. Is there support for that?
Wait a minute. Because are you striking the language of it? Because that's what's being relied on to make it a statement of position. Right. So you'll be striking the got two separate big things.
Leave it alone.
Can I ask this chair? I think I have a solution. I do come from Housing Resolution Committee. When the special meeting is sent out, we're going to be sent out here very soon. It is really on record. I think that you you reply all to all of that and add that to it, so everybody can submit.
I just don't want it in the minutes. We don't want it in the minutes.
We just say it's denied.
But we don't want it in the minutes.
When's our next meeting? December 27th, what time?
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Shetron, it's been seconded by Mr. Hassan. Is there any further discussion on the motion to strike from the record? Ms. Lee?
I actually think it's really, I'm personally from Wayne County District 12. I actually think it's in our best interest to show that we can govern ourselves well, so that and follow process, to show that our members can say something that's out of order and it can be handled in a respectful way, and we can govern ourselves as a body even when our fellow members are out of order.
Okay, that is an argument against the motion. Anyone want to speak in favor of the motion? Ms. Avery, you want to speak in favor? Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that we can keep the statement, but not the illegal motion, because I don't want to have any, I don't know, I don't want it to affect anything going forward or anything else. I don't know. I just don't want to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with what Kristen said, like making sure we know that we're following procedure. So I don't mind the statement, but I do agree that maybe an illegal motion should not have been made in the first place.
The parliamentarian is saying that in order to have on the record that when somebody was ruled out of order, that what was ruled out of order needs to be on the record. So it's his recommendation that this motion is out of order and is ruled as such. All right, we have a motion from Mr. Shingle to adjourn.
Yeah, our next meeting is.
Next meeting plan will be based on the special meeting. So
Wednesday, December 27th.
Wednesday, December 27th.
Thanks for watching.